out at night, during that, third birthday, that third moon, and have them look up. And because the eye was sensitive to light at night, when they looked up at the sky, they would be able to see straight through the constellation. You see, that's more science. You see what I'm saying? Our people are not spooked out. We're not these, when we talk about religious differences and stuff like that or whatever. Our main beef, if you ever hear Moore going at Christianity, the main thing he's going at is that European Romanized Christianity. That's not yours. That's a perversion of what you brought. That's a perversion of one of your forefathers and what he brought. The brother, I don't even really hear brother Yeshua that they call Jesus. All right? But nevertheless, the oldest church was the Coptic church. You know what I'm saying? Going back to ancient Ethiopia and Egypt. Or we like to say Abyssinia or Kush. You see, because Ethiopia is Ethiopic, which is Greek. That's not ours. All right? But nevertheless, that's the Christianity there. The Hebrewism, not Jewish, but the Hebrewism is ours. If I were to step out, right now on the bottom of my garment, I establish. All right? Anybody familiar with Hebraic law? Anyone? Okay? Brother, what does the tablets represent? It's the fiat, they call it Hebrew. Yeah. But more specifically, in Numbers 15:37, it states that the fiat were to be a reminder of the law, of the commandments. See, anybody can see the picture of the Moorish chief, the famous picture of the Moor? You ever look at the bottom of the garment? There's tassels on the front. See, but here we have a Moor who's supposed to be a Muslim, right? But nevertheless, he's wearing Hebraic tassels from the end of the garment. Why? Okay? Why is it in Moorish Spain? If you go back, you realize that Moorish Spain was the first time in all of history where you had Christians, Muslims, Hebrews, people of indigenous faith, all living together in harmony. You see, when you get into religious tolerance, all right, that was spawned by the Moors, your forefathers. You see, because the time came because we were at war. How many people heard of the Crusades and the Inquisition? All right, those wars never ended. Are you aware of that? Okay. Is anybody? And why did they never end? Can anybody tell me? First of all, what was the Crusades about? Anyone? You can speak. I'm trying to inject life in this room. That's part of it. See, but that's not the complete thing. The reason why I say it's not the complete thing is because religion has always been used as the face to do devilry. You see, war is waged for two main reasons: land and resources. You see, but there's a third reason as well. You see, let me just finish my point. I get you. There's a third reason as well, is because the Romans realized that all of the ancient mystery sciences came through our people, more specifically our women. You see, if you go back into the history, if you see brothers from the Moon Society, they wearing the turban. Okay? If you go back into our history to research why we wore the turban, you'll find out that the brothers that wore the turban were the initiates in the female mystery. Okay? When you study something like mathematics, all right, the root word of mathematics is meta, which is meta, and meta is Latin for mother. You see, it was necessary for the mother to become a mathematician because of the menstrual cycle. You see, pregnancy. You see what I'm saying? Because she's tied to the moon. That's why our first calendars were lunar. You see? So this is Moorish science. We don't, like the brother said so eloquently, we don't set trips. We're not on that. We don't care what your religious views are, what your religious, inclinations are. All right? What happens is, as Moorish scientist Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, as a government official, as our patriarch, all right, what he brought forth for us to create an environment where we could groom our own diplomats. You see? Our own consuls, our own ambassadors. You see? As simple number 19, so what we pride ourselves on as being diplomats. Right now, I can scan this room and I ain't gonna call nobody out. But I can see people here that study Nawaku from the brother Dr. Malachi El, which was one of my former students as well. Okay? I can see people that had a Nation of Islam background. Okay? I can see people that study Ifa. You see? I can see people that on a normal Sunday, they might be in church. You see? I got people here of Orthodox Islamic background. You see? I'm not going to point you out because it doesn't matter. The point is, we're all gathered here together. See? And we're not tripping off anybody's religion. What's your book? How do you prostrate? What's your God? What do you call him? How many times do you pray a day? What do you eat? What's your dietary law? We don't get into that. You see? That's not the point. You see? Okay? Anybody ever studied China? Okay? Anybody studied China before? All right? China has been a nation for 5,000 years. Anybody aware of that? 5,000 years. They've had leaders such as Lao Tzu, Buddha, Confucius, and a bunch of other leaders. Right? But point being, each one of them brought a different philosophy. You see? But nevertheless, and during this period of time, for government reason, they might adopt a certain philosophy. All right? But nevertheless, for that entire 5,000 years, do you realize they've always been Chinese? Chinese nationalists. They've always been Chinese nationalists for 5,000 years. They built the Great Wall to keep the Europeans out. They had China. Right? They built that wall. There was a lot of bloodshed at first because they had to clean. It was the tribal dynasty. Tribal war. Beef. All right? But once the bloodshed got out, you know what I mean, and they linked everything up, you know, now all of a sudden, you know, everything began to fall in. They're like, we're the same people. You see? Us, on the other hand, we go through name changes for about 15, 20 years. About time for a new one, for them to issue you a new name. You see, because African Americans, some of you start to wake up from that stuff. You know, we got people in here, highly intelligent people, scholars, and I know it, right? But none of us ever stop to think that Africa, take the word nationality. The root word of nationality is what?
Nation.
Nation. Is Africa a nation or a continent? Full of nations.
Full of nations.
So once again, I ask you, what is your nationality? You see?